Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fair Game. You're watching episode 6 of my Impossible Mission 2 run on NES.
We're currently exploring Tower 2, which happens to be devoted to Elvin's war plan. It's generally considered to be one of the harder towers.
Leading off on this one, we are going to immediately use a light override.
I don't know if there's actually any dark rooms in this tower or not, but we have enough to use one for every single tower going forward, so we're going to. One thing I like about Tower 2 is that it's one of the rare cases where you can actually infer quite a bit from the set dressing. If the dark red on the radar map below is where the missiles are supposed to strike, then Elvin's main targets are in the US, South America, and Russia. The drone console down below, the generators and computer equipment, suggests that Elvin has actually thought a lot of this out. We're going to use a time bomb as opposed to a landmine to blow a hole in the floor here, mostly because I don't want to waste time playing musical chairs with the Pestbot in order to guarantee that he runs it over. Because unlike all the other robots, Pestbot will respawn when you die. The reason he does is because Pestbot is actually tied to several elevator puzzles that basically stop working if he's not there. With that one deactivator used, we can finally clear the rest of this room out and move on. Awful large number of codebreaker keys in this particular room. Going forward is going to be kind of a balancing act. We need to search as much as we can to get deactivators, but we also need to move as fast as we can. And dang it, it's this room. This one's not terrible, but it's really obnoxious. The bash bot up at the top has a really annoying AI script. Meanwhile, down below, you have to deal with 2 pest bots and a sentry bot that's really aggressive. We got a lot to check, too. 2 drone consoles, that laser rifle down at the bottom, a tactical map. I actually bought a landmine from the previous room just in case we ran into a situation like this. I have a feeling we're going to need to use it to take out that bash bot. The good news is that while slightly frustrating, this room isn't super hard. I mean, we will have to use a deactivator, and that sucks. And the room layout is kind of bad, so it's really easy to die by accident here. One big issue we are running into in this particular tower is that we are running into a lot of it is mandatory you use a deactivator to get through this rooms. There's also quite a few rooms that require mandatory deaths around here, and that's never a good thing. The problem is, we are running very low on certain supplies. We have a surfeiture of landmines and time bombs, plenty of platform resets, plenty of platform overrides, and more than enough light overrides to carry us forward. But none of those is going to matter that much if we wind up running dry on deactivators. Which means, where possible, I need to make every single one of these damn things count. If that isn't enough, I'm also going to need at least one of the stupid things for the last room. So, yeah, Impossible Mission 2 is not an easy game. Not remotely. This frustration factory of a room nicely embodying why exactly that is.
In more positive news, I've been testing the delayed jump trick that Mercenary Cobra 1 showed me, and I can actually do it now. It took a bit of time to learn, and like Cobra said, once you actually figure out the ins and outs of how it works, you can basically do it on call. It is the key to making what seem to be certain impossible jumps in this game. And if the situation does warrant during this run, I will absolutely show you it. Mostly because pulling it off just looks amazing. Did you know that Impossible Mission 2 is listed as one of the 1001 games you must play before you die by Tony Mott? Also, have you noticed how clear the voice clips are in this game? When Epix made Impossible Mission, they hired the company ESS, or Electronic Speech Synthesis, to help them with the audio, resulting in the now notorious voice clips for Impossible Mission 1. When Impossible Mission was a success, ESS responded by spiking their prices. Novatrade, the primary developer of Impossible Mission 2 aside from Epix, decided to go a different route for Impossible Mission 2. Namely, porting over the original sound effects and converting them to NES format themselves. In essence, the reason that the voice clips are so high quality is because Novatrade recoded them from the original data. According to Dennis Caswell, one of the programmers of Impossible Mission 2, Tower 2's computers and equipment are actually based off the game War Games. And if you look at the searchable props in this tower, that's really obvious. Also, another update. I was wrong. It was not the Amstrad CPC version of the game that was impossible. It's the Atari 7800 version. In other news, I've found it really hard to find actual footage of Suicide Bot. It is easily the rarest enemy in the entire game, and I know it exists, but the only time I've seen it in person is when Mercenary Cobra 1 sent me footage he recorded himself. I've been going through long plays of the game, searching for sightings of it, like the wreckage of a crashed helicopter. It's in the manual, and countless players have seen the damn thing. It's just, no one has an image of it or a recording of it. It's like Impossible Mission 2's own personal Bigfoot sighting. Here, this is his last known appearance. If you should run across this unidentified robot, please alert Jaimas immediately. Do not try to apprehend him, as he will throw himself off a balcony in order to kill himself and you. And, god damn it, this is an inescapable section, isn't it? Yep, it is. Mandatory death right here. Interestingly, in the other versions of the game, there's 2 bash bots on the right. They're just not included in this version of the game, presumably because of the high sprite count of the room. Honestly, I kind of feel like that's an improvement. There's no reason to make this room even harder than it already is. Though I did just notice something. Did you notice how big the laser rifles in the room are? They seem way too big to be used by a human. And Elvin's robots certainly aren't capable of using one. Does he have other robots that we don't know about? Or are they just there for decoration? You know what? Questions for later. Right now, we just cleared this room. Which means we need to make our way back to the safe room, and we need to clear that. The good news is that this particular safe room isn't that hard to navigate. The bad news is that it's really, really easy to die on this one, and even a really good player is likely to die quite a few times. The key is that you have to very carefully time your jumps to get past the first 2 sentry bots on the left. You can only do this one from the left. You can't enter the room at all from the right. Touching the sentry bots at all is death, as is touching their lasers, so the key is getting past those 2. Once you do, however, it's all smooth sailing. There's nothing stopping you from checking the remaining drone console, or activating the terminal and grabbing a time bomb so you can blow the safe. Once you grab the music piece, it's a simple matter of making your way back up, using the lift, taking it all the way down, and exiting on the right. It's very straightforward. You can do it in one go, in theory. In practice, it's way too easy to screw up the first 2 jumps. Just a tiny bit of incorrect spacing will kill you. And right now, every death inches us closer and closer towards 0 hour. By my calculations, we have about 25 lives left. We're gonna have to make every single one count. We might luck out, we might be able to find a 10-minute time bonus or even one of the half-hour ones, which are much, much rarer. Other than that, it's going to be all skill and calculated risk from this point forward. The good news is we might actually be almost done. We just got the music piece, and if we're lucky, this is the last one. So we might be able to break into the last tower with just this. However, it's a 1 in 3 chance. 2 of them are duplicates, 1 isn't. And so, let's give a listen and hear for ourselves. And of course, it's a duplicate, which means we have to move on to the next tower. The good news is that we've cleared most of this particular tower already. So, now we have to make a calculated risk. We can move on immediately if we have the code number, or we can try to strip mine the last room in an attempt to find additional treasure and, hopefully, either a time bonus and or a deactivator or 2. Given the fact that we have mostly gotten some decent stuff so far, I'm at least reasonably sure we may have the code number already. The problem is, I don't know for sure. So, let's take a moment and go check out what the last room has. Well then! Yep, that's a nope. We're out. That particular room requires at least 3 deactivators to clear, under ideal circumstances, as well as 2 mines or time bombs, and at least 1 mandatory death. In other words, we're not doing it. We will go back if we absolutely have to, but I am praying we don't. Please have the code, please have the code, please have the code. Oh, thank God, it looks like we do. 179. That's the correct sequence. The next area is Tower 3, the motor pool, devoted to Elvin's rather surprisingly large vehicle collection. We're going to take a break right now, and I hope that the red leaves my vision and that my hand stops shaking. This has been Jaimas, and I thank you for watching Fair Game, and hopefully we'll see you sooner rather than later.